And they had a big one in stop my neck.
Why doesn't he come? This waiting is horrible. He should be here. Why is he not here? To wake by passionate words, some fire within me. I am cold. Cold as a loveless thing. Arthur must have read my letter by this time. If he cared for me, he would have come after me. Would have taken me back by force. But he doesn't care. He's entrammelled by this woman. Fascinated by her. Dominated by her. If a woman wants to hold a man, she has merely to appeal to what is worse in him. We make gods of these men, and they leave us. Others make brutes of them, and they fawn and are faithful. How hideous is life. It was mad of me to come here, horribly mad. And yet, which is worse, to be at the mercy of a man who loves one, or the wife of a man who in one's own house dishonours one. What woman knows? But will he love me always, this man to whom I'm giving my life? What do I bring him? Lips that have lost the notes of joy. Eyes blinded by tears. Chill hands, icy heart. I bring him nothing. I must go back at once. No. Arthur would not take me back. My letter has put me in their power. Oh, that fatal letter. Lord Darlington leaves England tomorrow. I will go with him. I have no choice. No. No. I will go back. Let Arthur do with me as he pleases. It was mad of me to come here. Oh, I cannot wait here. I must go at once. As for Lord Darlington... Here he is. Oh, what can I do? What can I say to him? I have heard that men can be brutal, horrible...
Oh, Lady Windermere! Oh, thank heaven I am in time. You must go back to your husband's house immediately.
Must?
Yes, you must. There's not a second to be lost. Lord Darlington may return at any moment.
Don't come near me.
You are on the brink of ruin. You're on the brink of a hideous precipice. You must leave this place at once. My carriage is waiting at the corner of the street. You must come with me and drive straight home. What are you doing?
Mrs. Erlynne, if you had not come, I would have gone back. But now that I see you, I feel that nothing in the whole world would induce me to live under the same roof as Lord Windermere. You fill me with horror. And there is something about you that stirs the wildest rage within me. And I know why you are here. My husband sent you to lure me back, that I might serve as a blind to whichever relations exist between you and him.
Oh, you don't think that... Oh, you can't.
Go back to my husband, Mrs. Erlynne. He belongs to you and not to me. I suppose he is afraid of a scandal. Men are such cowards. They outrage every law of the world and are afraid of the world's tongue. But he had better prepare. He shall have a scandal. He shall have the worst scandal there has been in London for years. He shall see his name in every vile paper, mine in every hideous placard.
No.
Yes, he shall. You know, I admit, had he come himself, I would have gone back. But to stay himself at home, and to send you as his messenger, oh, it was infamous. Infamous!
Lady Windermere, you wrong me horribly. You wrong your husband horribly. doesn't know you are here. He thinks you are safe in your own house. Thinks you're asleep in your own room. He never read the mad letter you wrote to him.
Never read it.
No, he knows nothing about it.
How simple you think me. You are lying to me.
I am not. I'm telling you the truth.
If my husband didn't read the letter, how is it that you were here? Who told you I had left the house you were shameless enough to enter? My husband told you, and sent you to decoy me back.
Your husband has never seen the letter. I saw it. I opened it. I read it.
You opened a letter of mine to my husband? You wouldn't dare.
Dare? Now, to save you from the abyss into which you are falling, there is nothing in the world I would not dare. Nothing in the whole world. Here is the letter. Your husband has never read it. He never shall read it. It should never have been written.
How do I know that that was my letter after all? You seem to think the commonest device can take me in.
Why do you disbelieve everything I tell you? What object do you think I have in coming here except to save you from utter ruin? To save you from the consequence of a hideous mistake. That letter, which is burnt now, was your letter. I swear it to you.
Well, you took good care to burn it before I had examined it. How can I trust you? You, whose whole life is a lie, could you speak the truth about anything?
Think as you like about me. Say what you choose against me, but go back. Go back to the husband you love.
I do not love him.
You do, and you know that he loves you.
He does not understand what love is. He understands it as little as you do. But I see what you want. It would be a great advantage for you to get me back. Good heaven, what a life I would have then. Living at the mercy of a woman who has neither mercy nor pity in her. A woman whom it is an infamy to meet. A degradation to know. A vile woman. A woman who comes between husband and wife.
Lady Windermere. Lady Windermere. Don't say such terrible things. You don't know how terrible they are. How terrible and how unjust. Listen, you must listen. Only go back to your husband, and I promise you to never communicate with him again on any pretext. Never to see him, never to have anything to do with his life or yours. The money he gave me not through love, but through hatred. Not in worship, but in contempt. The hold I have over
A
him.
hold? You admit you have a hold?
Yes. And I will tell you what it is. It is his love for you, Lady Windermere.
You expect me to believe that?
You must believe it. It is true. It is his love for you that has made him submit to... call it what you like. Tyranny. Threats. Anything you choose, but it is his love for you. His desire to spare you. Shame. Yes. Shame and disgrace.
What are you talking about? You are insolent. What have I to do with you?
Nothing. I know it. But I tell you that your husband loves you. You may never meet with such love again in your life. But such love you will never meet. That if you throw it away, the day may come when you will starve for love and it will not be given to you. Beg for love and it will be denied you. No. Arthur loves you.
Arthur? Oh, you tell me there is nothing between you.
Lady Windermere, before heaven, your husband is guiltless of all offence towards you, and I tell you that had it ever occurred to me that such a monstrous suspicion would have entered your mind, I would have died rather than crossed your path, or his. Died, gladly died.
You're talking as if you had a heart. Only women like you have no heart. Heart is not in you. You are bought and sold.
Believe what you choose about me. I'm not worth a moment's sorrow, but don't spoil your beautiful young life on my account. You don't know what may be in store for you unless you leave this place at once. You don't know what it is to fall into the pit, to be despised, mocked, abandoned, sneered at, to be an outcast, to find the door shut against one and to have to creep in through hideous byways, afraid at every moment lest the mask should be stripped from one's face, and all the while to hear the laughter, the horrible laughter of the world. You don't know what it is. One pays for one's sins, and then one pays again, and all one's life one pays. You must never know that. As for me, if suffering be an expiation, then at this moment I have expiated all my faults, whatever they have been. For tonight, you have made a heart in one who had it not. Made it and broken it, but let that pass. I may have wrecked my own life, but I will not let you wreck yours. You are a mere girl. You would be lost. You haven't got the kind of brains that enables a woman to get back. Neither the wit nor the courage. You couldn't stand dishonor. Go back, LadyWindermere. Go back to the husband who loves you, whom you love. You have a child, LadyWindermere. Go back to that child who, even now, in pain or in joy, may be calling out to you. God gave you that child. He will require from you that you watch over him and that you make his life fine. And what answer will you give to God if his life is ruined through you? No. Back to your house, LadyWindermere. Your husband loves you. He has never swerved for a moment from the love he bears you, but even if he had 1,000 loves, you must stay with your child. If he was harsh to you, you must stay with your child. If he ill-treated you, you must stay with your child. If he abandoned you, your place is with your child. LadyWindermere,
Take me home.
oh,
Take me home.
come here, where's your cloak? Come at once.
Stop. Don't you record this? No.
Yes.
Yes, there it is. That's my husband's voice. He's coming in. Save me. Oh, it is a plot. You have sent for him.
I am here to save you if I can, although fear it is too late. Ah, there. The first chance you have, slip out if you ever get a chance.
But you...
Never mind me. I'll face him.
Nonsense, Lord Windermere, you must not leave me.
Oh, Lord Augustus. Oh, then it is I who am lost.
What a nuisance they're putting us out of the club at this hour. It's only 2 o'clock. The lively part of the evening's only just begun.
It's very good of you, Lord Darlington, allowing Augustus to force our company on you. Afraid I can't stay long.
Really? I'm so sorry. You'll take a cigar, won't you?
You must not dream of leaving, dear boy. I've got much to talk to you about, and of demmed importance, too.
Oh, we all know what that is. Tuppy can't talk of anything but Mrs. Erlyn.
Well, that is no business of yours, is it, Cecil?
None. That is why it interests me. My own business always bores me to death. I prefer other people's.
Will you have a drink, you fellas? Cecil, you have a whiskey and,
Oh, yes,
excuse me, whiskey?
yes, good, thank you. Mrs. Erling looked quite handsome tonight, didn't she?
Oh, I'm not one of her admirers.
Oh, well, I used to be, but I am now. Why, she actually made me introduce her to poor dear Aunt Caroline. I believe she's going to go there for lunch.
No.
Oh, yes, she is, really. Yes. Oh, good.
I'm going away tomorrow morning, and I have a few letters to write. Excuse me, fellas.
Well, of course.
Clever woman, Mrs. Allen.
Oh, Johnny, hello. I thought you were asleep.
I am. I usually am.
A very clever woman. Knows what a demn fool I am, knows it as well as I do myself. Oh, you might laugh, dear boy, but it's a very good thing to find a woman who thoroughly understands one.
It's an awfully dangerous thing. They usually end up marrying one.
But I thought that you were never going to see her again. Yes, you told me yesterday evening at the club. You said that you had heard that... heard?
Oh, she's explained that.
Oh. And the Wiesbaden affair?
She's explained that too.
And her finances, Tuppy? Has she explained those as well?
She'll explain that tomorrow.
Oh.
Awfully commercial women nowadays. Our grandmothers threw their caps over the mills, of course. But, by Jove, their granddaughters only throw their caps over the mills that can raise the wind for them.
You want to make her out a wicked woman, and she is not.
Oh, wicked women bother one. Good women bore one. That's the only difference between them.
Mrs. Erlen has a future before her.
Oh, yes.
Mrs. Ellen has a past before her.
I prefer women with a past. They're always so demned amusing to talk to.
Oh, well, you'll have plenty of topics of conversation with her, Tuppy.
You're getting annoying, dear boy. You're getting demned annoying.
No, Tuppy. You've lost your figure. You've lost your character. Don't lose your temper. You've only got one.
If I were the most good-natured man in London,
Oh, yes, well, we would treat you with much more respect now, wouldn't we?
The youth of the present day are quite monstrous. They have absolutely no respect for dyed hair.
Oh, well, Mrs. Erlen has a great deal of respect for Tuppy.
The Mrs. Ellen sets an admirable example for the rest of her sex. It's quite brutal, women nowadays, how they behave around men who are not their husbands.
Dumby, you're ridiculous. Cecil. Cecil, you let your tongue run away with you.
Oh, no.
You must leave Mrs. Erlen alone. You don't really know anything about her, and you're always talking scandal against her.
My dear Arthur, I never talk scandal. I only talk gossip.
What is the difference between scandal and gossip?
Oh, well, gossip is charming. History is merely gossip. But scandal is gossip made tedious by morality. Now, I never moralize. A man who moralizes is usually a hypocrite. And a woman who moralizes, well, she's invariably plain. There is nothing in the world so unbecoming to a woman as a nonconformist conscience, and most women know it, I am very glad to say.
Just my sentiments, dear boy, just my sentiments.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Tuppy. Whenever anyone agrees with me, I always feel I must be wrong.
You know, when I was much younger...
But you never were, and you never shall be. I say, Darlington, could we have some cards? You'll play, won't you, Arthur?
No, thanks, Cecil.
Good heavens. Looks what marriage does to a man. It's as demoralizing as cigarettes, but far more expensive.
Well, you'll play, of course, Tuppy.
Can't, dear boy. Promise Mrs. Erlen never to play again or drink.
Oh, my. Oh, my. You must not be led astray into the paths of virtue. Well, Tuppy, reformed, you would be perfectly tedious. Well, you know, this is the worst of women. They always want one to be good. And if we are good when they meet us, they do not love us at all. They like to find us irretrievably bad and then leave us quite unattractively good.
They always do find us bad.
Yes.
I do not think we're bad. I think we're all good. Except Tuppy.
No. We are all of us in the gutter. But some of us are looking at the stars.
We are all of us in the gutter. Some of us are looking at the stars. Upon my word, Darlington, you're very romantic tonight.
Oh, much too romantic. You must be in love. Oh, tell us, who is the girl?
The woman I love is not free or thinks she isn't.
Ah, a married woman then. Oh, there is nothing in the world like the devotion of a married woman. That's something a married man knows nothing about.
This woman is a good woman. She doesn't love me. She's the only good woman I've ever met in my entire life.
The only good woman you've ever met in your life?
Yes!
Oh, well, you are a lucky fellow then. But I have met hundreds of good women. I rarely meet any other type but good women. This world is perfectly packed with good women. To know them is a middle-class education.
This woman has purity and innocence, something we men have lost.
Oh, my dear Darlington, what on earth would we men be doing going about with purity and innocence? A carefully thought out buttonhole is much more effective.
So she doesn't love you then?
No, she doesn't.
Ah, then I congratulate you, my dear fellow. In this world, there are two tragedies. One is not getting what one wants, and the other is getting it.
Yeah.
The latter is much the worst. The latter is a true tragedy. But I am interested to hear that she does not love you. Cecil,
Yes.
how long could you love a woman who does not love you?
A woman who did not love me all my life.
Ah, so could I. It's so difficult to find one.
How can you be so conceited, Dumby?
I do not say it as a matter of conceit. I say it as a matter of regret. I've been madly, passionately adored. I'm sorry to say I have. It's been an immense nuisance. I should like to be allowed a little time to myself every now and then.
Time to educate yourself, I suppose.
No. Time to forget everything I have learned.
Well, that shouldn't take long.
Oh, something that Windermere says that is not about Mrs. Alvin.
What cynics you fellows are.
And what is a cynic?
A man who knows the price of everything, yet the value of nothing.
And a sentimentalist, my dear Darlington, is a man who sees an absurd value in everything and doesn't know the market price of any single thing.
You always amuse me, Cecil. You speak as though you're a man of experience.
Oh, well, I am.
You are far too...
Young, yes, well, thank you. Experience. Experience is a question of instinct about life. Now, I have got it. Tuppy has not. Experience is the name that Tuppy gives to his mistakes.
Experience is the name everyone gives their mistakes.
One shouldn't commit any.
Life would be much duller without them.
You are quite faithful to this woman you are in love with, Darlington. to this good woman?
Cecil, of course. When one is in love with a woman, all other women become meaningless to one. Love changes one. I am changed.
Oh, dear me. How very interesting. Tuppy, I want to see you.
It's no use talking to Tuppy. We might as well talk to a brick wall.
Well, I like talking to brick walls. They're the only thing in the world that doesn't contradict me. Tuppy,
Yes. What is it?
come over here. I want you particularly.
What is it?
Darlington has been moralizing and talking about the purity of love and that sort of thing. And all this time, he has got a woman in his rooms.
Oh, really? Really?
Yes. Here is her fan.
Oh, by Jove.
Well, I really am off now, Lord Darlington. I'm quite sorry you must leave England so soon. Pray call on us when you come back. My wife and I will be charmed to see you.
I'm afraid, Arthur, I will be gone for many years. Good night.
Arthur.
What?
Yes, I want to talk to you. Do come.
I can't. I'm off.
No, I need to talk to you. It will interest you enormously. I need to
It
talk
is
to you
some of your
particularly.
nonsense, Cecil.
No, it is not. I promise it is not.
You must not go, dear boy. I've got much to talk to you about, and Cecil has something he wants to show you.
Well, what is it?
Darlington has got a woman in his rooms,
No.
and here is her fan. Amusing, isn't it?
Good God!
What is the matter?
Lord Darlington!
Yes.
What is my wife's fan doing here in your rooms? Hands off,
Your
Cecil.
wife's
Yes, here it is.
Now, Arthur, you need to...
Don't hold me, you
Now,
fool.
I don't know.
You must know. I demand an explanation.
She's here after all.
Now, Arthur, you just need to calm down.
Speak, sir.
This is...
Why is my wife's fan here?
No.
My God, I'll
No.
You shall not ruin you. Oh, you shall not be you.
No,
That's so true.
this is
Well,
not-
you shall have that touch.
No.
Lord Windermere!
This is over.
I am afraid I took your wife's fan in mistake for my own when I was leaving your house tonight. I'm so sorry.
How can I tell him? I can't tell him. It would kill me. I wonder what happened after I escaped that horrible room. Perhaps she told them the true reason of her being there, and the real meaning of that fatal fan of mine. Or if he knows. I could never look him in the face again. He would never forgive me. How securely one thinks one lives. Out of the reach of temptation, sin, folly. And then suddenly... Oh, life is terrible. It rules us, we do not rule it.
Did your ladyship ring for me?
Yes, have you found out what time Lord Windermere came in last night?
His lordship did not come in till 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock? Did he knock on my door this morning?
Yes, my lady, at 9:30. I told him your ladyship was not awake yet.
Did he say anything?
Something about your ladyship's fan. I didn't quite catch what his lordship said. Has the fan been lost, my lady? I can't find it, and Parker said I hadn't been left in any of the rooms. She looks in all of them and on the terrace as well.
It does not matter. Tell Parker not to trouble. That will do. She is sure to tell him. I can fancy a person doing a wonderful act of self-sacrifice, doing it spontaneously, recklessly, nobly, and then finding out afterwards that it costs too much. Why should she hesitate between her ruin and mine? How strange. I would have publicly disgraced her in my own home. She accepts public disgrace in the house of another to save me. There is a bitter irony in things. A bitter irony in the way we talk of good and bad women. What a lesson. And what a pity that in life we only get our lessons when they are of no use to us. For even if she doesn't tell him, I must. Oh, the shame of it. The shame of it all. To tell it is to live through it all again. Actions are the first tragedy in life. Words are the second. Words are perhaps the worst. Words are merciless. Oh.
Margaret? How pale you look.
I slept very badly.
So sorry. I came in dreadfully late. I didn't like to wake you. Margaret, you were crying, dear.
Yes, I'm not well.
My fault,
There is
child.
something
No,
I must tell you.
you are not well. You've been doing too much. We should go to the country. You'll be all right, Miss Sylvia. The season's almost over. There's no use staying on. My poor darling, we could go away today if you like. We could easily catch the 3:40. I'll send a wire to Fanny.
Yes, let us go away today. No, I can't go today. There is someone I must see before I leave town. Someone who has been kind to me.
Kind to you?
Far more than that. I will tell you, Arthur, but only love me. Love me like you used to love me.
Used to? You're not thinking of that wretched woman that came here last night. You don't still imagine it. No, you couldn't.
I don't. I know now I was wrong and foolish.
It was very good of you to receive her last night. Margaret, you would never see her again.
Why do you say that?
I thought Mrs. Erlin was a woman more sinned against than sinning, as the phrase goes. I thought she wanted to be good, to get back to a place she had lost by a moment's folly, to lead again a decent life. I believed what she told me. I was mistaken in her. The woman is bad. As a woman can be.
Arthur, don't talk so bitterly about any woman. I don't think now that people can be divided into the good and the bad as though they are two separate races or creations. What are called good women may have terrible things in them. Mad moods of recklessness, assertion, jealousy, sin. Bad women, as they are termed, may have in them sorrow, repentance, pity and sacrifice. And I don't think Mrs. Erlin a bad person. I know she's not.
My dear child, that woman is impossible. No matter what harm she may try to do us, you must never see her again. She is inadmissible anywhere.
But I want her to come here. I want to see her.
Never.
It is too late now to say that, Arthur.
Margaret, if you knew where Mrs. Erlin went last night after she left this house, you would not sit in the same room as her. It was absolutely shameless, the whole thing.
Arthur. I cannot. I must tell you. Last night.
Mrs. Erlin has called to return her ladyship's fan, which she took away with her by mistake last night. Mrs. Erlin has written a message on the card.
Please ask Mrs. Erlin to be kind enough to come up. Say that I shall be very glad to see her. She wants to see me, Arthur.
Margaret, I beg you not to. Let me see her first at any rate. She is a very dangerous woman. She is the most dangerous woman I know. You don't realize what you're doing.
But it is right that I should see her.
My dear child, you may be on the brink of a great sorrow. Do not go to meet it. It is absolutely necessary that I should see her before you do.
Why should it be necessary?
Mrs. Erlin!
How do you do, Lady Windermere? How do you do? Do you know, Lady Windermere, I'm so sorry about your fan. I can't imagine how I made such a silly mistake. Most stupid of me, and as I was driving in your direction, I thought I would take the opportunity of returning your property in person, with many apologies for my carelessness, and of bidding you goodbye.
Goodbye. Are you going away then, Mrs. Erlin?
Yes, I'm going to live abroad again. The English climate doesn't suit me. My heart is affected here, and that I don't like. I prefer living in the south. London is too full of fogs and serious people, Lord Windermere. Whether the fogs produce the serious people, or the serious people produce the fogs, I have no idea. But the whole thing rather gets on my nerves, and so I'm leaving this afternoon by the club train.
This afternoon? But I wanted so much to come and see you.
How kind of you. But I'm afraid I have to go.
Shall I never see you again, Mrs. Erlin?
I'm afraid not. Our lives lie too far apart. But there is a little thing I'd like you to do for me. I want a photograph of you, Lady Windermere. Would you give me one? You don't know how gratified I should be.
With pleasure. There is one on that table. I will go and get it for you.
It is monstrous. You're intruding yourself here after your conduct last night.
My dear Windermere, manners before morals.
I'm afraid it is very flattering. I'm not so pretty as that.
You are much prettier. But haven't you got one of yourself with your little boy?
I have. Would you prefer one of those?
Yes.
If you'll excuse me, I will go upstairs for it.
So sorry, Lady Windermere, to give you so much trouble.
It is no trouble at all, Mrs. Erlin.
Thanks. You seem rather out of temper this morning, Windermere. Why should you be? Margaret and I get on charmingly together.
I can't bear to see you with her. Besides, you've not told me the truth, Mrs. Erlin.
I've not told her the truth.
Oh, I sometimes wish you had. I should have been spared then the misery, the anxiety, the annoyance of the last 6 months. But rather than my wife should know that the mother whom she has been taught to consider as dead, the mother whom she has mourned is dead, is living. A divorced woman going about under an assumed name. A bad woman, preying upon life as I know you now to be. Rather than that, I was ready to supply you with money to pay bill after bill, extravagance after extravagance, to risk what occurred yesterday. The only quarrel I've ever had with my wife, you can't possibly imagine what that means to me. How could you? I tell you, The only bitter words that have come from the sweet lips of hers were on your account. And I hate to see you next to her. You sully the innocence that is in her. And then, with all your faults, I used to think that you were frank and honest. You are not.
Why do you say that?
You made me get you an invitation to my wife's ball.
For my daughter's ball,
You came,
yes.
and within an hour of your leaving this house, you were discovered in a man's rooms. You are disgraced before everyone.
Yes.
Therefore, I have a right to look upon you as what you are. A worthless, vicious woman. A right to tell you to never enter this house, to never to attempt to come near my wife.
My daughter, you mean?
You have no right to claim her as your daughter. You left her. Abandoned her when she was but a child in the cradle. Abandoned her for your lover, who abandoned you in turn.
Do you count that to his credit, Lord Windermere, or to mine?
But to his, now that I know you.
Take care. You had better be careful.
Oh, I'll not mince words for you. I know you thoroughly.
I question that.
No, I do know you. For 20 years of your life, you lived without your child, without a thought of your child. One day you read in the papers she has married a rich man. You saw your hideous chance. You knew that to spare her the ignominy of learning that a woman like you was her mother, that I would endure anything. You began your blackmail.
Don't use ugly words, Windermere. They are vulgar. I saw my chance. It is true. And I took it.
Yes, you took it, and you spoiled it all last night by being found out.
You are quite right. I spoiled it all last night.
As for your blunder in taking my wife's fan from here and leaving it about in Darlington's rooms, it is unpardonable. I can't bear the sight of it anymore. I shall never let my wife use it again. The thing is soiled for me. You should have kept it and not brought it back.
I think I shall keep it. It's extremely pretty. I shall ask Margaret to give it to me.
Yes, well, I hope my wife will give it to you.
I'm sure she will have no objection.
I wish that at the same time she would give you a miniature picture she kisses every night before she prays. It's the miniature of a young, innocent-looking girl with beautiful dark hair.
Yes. I remember now. How long ago that seems. It was done before I was married. Dark hair and an innocent expression were the fashion then, Windermere.
What do you mean by coming here this morning? What is your object?
To bid goodbye to my dear daughter, of course. Don't imagine I'm going to have a pathetic scene with her and weep on her neck and tell her who I am and all that kind of thing. I have no ambition to play the part of a mother. Only once in my life have I known a mother's feelings. That was last night. They were terrible. It made me suffer. It made me suffer too much. For 20 years, as you say, I've lived childless and I want to live childless still. Besides, how on earth could I pose as a mother with a grown-up daughter? Margaret is 21. Never admitted to being more than 29 or 30 at most. 29 when there are pink shades, 30 when there are not. So you see what difficulties it would involve. No. As far as I'm concerned, let your wife cherish the memory of this dead, stainless mother. Who am I to interfere with her illusions? Find it hard enough to keep my own. I lost one illusion last night. I thought I had no heart. I find that I have one, and a heart doesn't suit me, Windermere. Somehow it doesn't go with modern dress. Makes one look old, and it spoils one's career at the critical moment.
You fill me with horror, with absolute horror.
I suppose, Windermere, you would like me to retire into a convent, or become a hospital nurse, or something of that kind, as people do in silly modern novels. That is stupid of you, Arthur. In real life, we don't do such things. Not as long as we have any good looks left, at any rate. No. What consoles one nowadays is not repentance, but pleasure. Repentance is quite out of date, and besides, if a woman really repents, she has to go to a bad dressmaker. Otherwise no one believes her. Oh, nothing in the world would induce me to do that. No. I'm going to pass entirely out of your two lives. Coming into them has been a mistake. Discovered that last night.
Yes, a fatal mistake.
Almost fatal.
I am sorry now. I did not tell my wife the whole thing at once.
I regret my bad actions. You regret your good ones. That's the difference between us.
I do not trust you. I think I will tell my wife. It is right that she should know. But for me, it'll humiliate her terribly and cause her infinite pain, but it is right that she should know.
You propose to tell her.
No, I will tell her.
If you do, I will make my name so infamous, which will mar every moment of her life, which will ruin her, and make her wretched. If you dare tell her, there is no depth of degradation I will not sink to, no pit of shame I will not enter. I forbid you to tell her.
Why?
If I were to say to you it was because I cared for her, perhaps loved her even, you would sneer at me, wouldn't you?
I should feel it were not true. A mother's love requires devotion, unselfishness, sacrifice. What could you know of such things?
You are right. What could I know of such things? Don't let us talk any more about it. As for telling my daughter who I am, that I do not allow. It is my secret, it is not yours, and if I make up my mind to tell her, and I think I will, then I shall tell her before I leave this house. If not, I will never tell her.
Then allow me to beg you to leave our house at once. I will make your excuses to Margaret.
Oh, I am so sorry, Mrs. Erland, to have kept you waiting. I couldn't find the photograph anywhere. My husband had stolen it.
I'm not surprised. It is charming. Oh, and so that is your little boy. What is he called?
Gerard, after my father.
Really?
Yes, if it had been a girl, I would have called her after my mother. My mother and I had the same name, Margaret.
My name is Margaret too.
Indeed.
Yes, you are devoted to your mother's memory, Lady Windermere. Your husband tells me.
Yes, we all have our ideals in life. At least we should have them. Mine is my mother.
Well, ideals are dangerous things. Realities are better. They wound, but they're better.
If I lost my ideals, I would lose everything.
Everything.
Yes.
Did your father often speak to you of your mother?
No. It brought him too much pain. He told me how she died only a few months after I was born. And then he begged me never to mention her name to him again. It made him suffer just to hear it. My father rarely died of a broken heart. His was the most ruined life I know.
I'm afraid I have to go now.
No, don't.
Yes, I'm afraid I must. My carriage must have come back by this time. I sent it to Lady Jedburgh's with a note.
Arthur, would you mind seeing if I can?
Pray don't trouble me.
Yes, Arthur.
Of course.
Do go. What can I say to you? You saved me last night.
Hush, don't speak of it.
I must speak of it. I can't let you think that I'm going to let you get away with this sacrifice. It is too great. I am going to tell my husband everything. It is my duty.
It is not your duty. At least, you have duties to others besides him. You say you owe me something.
Well, I owe you everything.
Then pay your debt by silence. That is the only way in which it can be paid. Don't spoil the one good thing I've ever done in my life by telling it to anyone. Promise me that what passed last night will remain a secret between us. You must not bring misery into your husband's life. Why spoil his love? You must not spoil it. Love is easily killed. Oh, how easily love is killed. Pledge me your word, Lady Windermere, that you will never tell him. I insist upon it.
This is your will and not mine.
It is. And never forget your child. I like to think of you as a mother. I like you to think of yourself as one.
I always will now. Only once in my whole life I ever forgot my own mother. That was last night. If I had remembered her, I would not have been so wicked and foolish.
Gosh, last night is quite over.
You will never speak against Mrs. Erlin again, will you?
She is better than one thought her.
She's better than I am.
Oh, my child, you and she belong to different worlds. Into your world, you was never entered.
Oh, don't say that, Arthur. There's the same world for all of us, and good and evil, sin and innocence go through it hand in hand. To shut one's eyes to half of life, that one might live more securely, is as though one blinded oneself that one might live with more safety in a land of pit and precipice.
My darling, why do you say that?
Because I, who had shut my eyes to life, came to the brink, and one who had separated us.
Oh, we were never separated.
We must never be again. Oh, Arthur, don't love me any less, and I will trust you more. I will trust you absolutely. Let us go to Selby. In the rose garden at Selby, the roses are white and red.
Arthur, she has explained everything. My dear fellow, she has explained every dim thing. We all wronged her immensely. It was entirely for my sake that she went to Darlington's rooms, called first at the club. Fact is, wanted to put me out of suspense, and being told I had gone on, followed. Naturally frightened when she heard a lot of us coming in, retired to another room. I assure you, most gratifying to me, the whole thing. Oh, we all behaved brutally to her. She is just the woman for me, suits me down to the ground. All the conditions she makes are that we live entirely out of England. Very good thing, too. Dem clubs, dem climate, dem cooks, demmed everything, sick of it all.
Has Mrs. Erlin...
Yes, Lady Windermere, Mrs. Erlin has done me the honor of accepting my hand.
Well, you certainly are marrying a very clever woman.
Ah, you are marrying a very good woman.
See you outside.